Greetings. Welcome to the second episode of High Point, Turning Point, and Endpoint. In this episode, I will discuss how the second movie in the Jurassic Park franchise is also the turning point of the movie series. The second movie, of course, being The Lost World Jurassic Park. And I was going to make a joke about how it should be called The Lost World or Jurassic World, how that's a silly title, but I decided not to do that. Anyways, the movie is a turning point, not necessarily in a negative way. I think it is a mixed bag as far as the movie is concerned, very uneven, and it leans, I must say, The Lost World heavily into the sequel theory 101 that more is better, more is more, that whatever made the first movie successful is dialed up to 11, and there is your sequel. So that means for Jurassic World, more dinosaurs, which actually, that's a great thing, more islands, more storms, more characters, more gruesome deaths, more vehicles and technology and buildings and jungle settings, stuff like that. More Ian Malcolm and less Dr. Grant. So not everything is definitely more. Some is less. Some characters, prominent characters, are missing from the first movie. But I would like to look at the characters, very important for this film, I think. Kind of the weak point, actually. Jeff Goldblum returns as Ian Malcolm, and is just not the same, I would say. His character, perhaps changed by the events of the first movie, which is understandable. I do think, though, that Jeff Goldblum doesn't bring his best A game to this movie. Even his first scene is of him yawning in front of a poster of a jungle, and that really sets the tone for his character. He does have some great moments here and there, for sure, but he doesn't have the same energy or pizzazz that we're used to seeing him as an actor, and for sure that is a Malcolm trademark that is missing for the most part, though he still does a great job. Another character who is also frustrating, I would say, is Sarah Harding, who's his girlfriend, and she makes a series of bad decisions throughout the film, whether it's her camera that sets off a Stegosaurus herd, almost crushes her and the rest of the crew. She leads the way to sabotage the Engine Expedition Force, which strands them on the island and inadvertently strands, Sarah and her team as well. She has the blood from the baby T-Rex when they bring it back to their own camp, which, of course, is where Kelly's at, Ian's teenage daughter. No regard for safety of Kelly or for Ian or anyone on their team. She and Nick Van Owen, they bring the baby T-Rex as injured back to the trailer, which, of course, sparks the ire of the T-Rex parents. And when she's covered in blood and they're traveling across the island, the T-Rex, of course, track her with that, with their scent. That gets a whole bunch of people killed from the expedition team, and also kind of forces them into a frenzy where they're trying to escape and end up running into the long grass, which is where they come across the raptors, which never would have happened if Roland Tembo had been allowed to lead them properly. And it gets a whole bunch of people killed. Her decisions, of course, eventually that's how the T-Rex gets captured, because Tembo's has time to do that, which, if Ian had been there, he probably would have stopped. That T-Rex gets captured, of course, gets brought back to San Diego, and more people get killed. She kind of is just the worst. Not to blame everything on her, because the main antagonist is Peter Ludlow, and I actually do like this character a lot. He's kind of like the evil version of John Hammond in a way, the corporate figure. Every human bad guy, I would say, in the franchise, there's at least one that's kind of based off of this DNA of just a guy who's trying to use the dinosaurs for financial gains, take over the company, just some crazy plot to make money using the dinosaurs. Peter Ludlow is the blueprint for that formula. And he does have quite a big success. He is prepared, you must say. He has a team of lawyers. He brings Roland Tembo and his expedition force, and they have tons of support. He defers to his experts, dinosaur experts. The only time you ever see him kind of operate by himself is towards the end of the film, when he tries to recapture the baby T-Rex, which ultimately gets him killed. But other than that, he is smart enough to know that he has to rely on others to succeed. So I think he is a very effective antagonist in the film. And still, though, there are too many characters, which is a weakness. May sound silly to say, but most of the characters don't have enough time to shine, to kind of develop. There's just such a cast that's, if you understand, or if you memorize the names of every human character in this film, I must say I commend you, because that is quite an accomplishment. They're very similar. They're like knockoff versions of characters from the previous film. They just don't stand out or do much, unfortunately. They're just there to get taken out one by the dinosaurs. And that's not, it's great for visuals, but it's kind of hard with the storytelling, for sure. The dinosaurs, though, overall are great. They are not a disappointment, and having more dinosaurs is a good thing, actually, I believe. There's more of them, 2 T-Rexes instead of 1, or 3 if you count the baby. There's more raptors, you see more raptor kills. There's more herbivores we hadn't seen before, the Pachycephalosaurus, Stegosaurus, so more variety. The dinosaurs don't disappoint. They are great. They're still a threat. They look magnificent. They serve a purpose. The Triceratops has more action. They do a great job, I gotta say, with the dinosaurs. New additions like the Compies, a great dino villain. They definitely steal every scene that they're in. They do a good job using those new dinosaurs. I think it's a very simple plot, much like the first film. First, John Hammond recruits Ian to kind of do like a PR mission to show dinosaurs in their natural habitat to save them from Peter Ludlow, using them for money. And once Ian finds out that Sarah is on the island, his girlfriend, he's, jumps into action. He's like, this isn't a PR mission. This is a rescue mission. And it's really one of the best moments in the film. Of course, then they kind of cross paths with the engine team, the expedition. And obviously they clash. They sabotage the other team. The T-Rexes almost take out Ian's PR team. And from there, they are forced to work with the engine expedition. And oddly enough, it's Peter Ludlow and Roland Tembo that extend the olive branch and take them in because they know the dangers of being stranded on this island. From there, the plot is basically the two teams are trying to get from one side of the island to the other to communicate, call for help, and get off the island. And one by one, of course, people are taken out by the dinosaurs. And the plot after that is pretty much also simple, tacked on maybe. They go to San Diego. The bull male T-Rex is captured by Roland Tembo. And they are, the dinosaurs, of course, escape, right? Kind of like King Kong. Of course, you bring the monster to civilization. The T-Rex escapes, and Ian and Sarah have to work together to get that dinosaur taken back to the cargo barge. It is still simple, but when you're watching it, the pacing, it is a bit uneven. It feels rushed. There's also parts that feel like it just goes on and on, lasts too long. It's not quite as good as the first movie, but it's a very solid entry to the franchise overall. And I think the main theme of the film, really wraps it up nicely. The overall framing of the narrative, the exploitation, I should say, of natural resources, which ties to the first film, especially a speech by Malcolm about how the natural world is, just taken over by exploration. It's not a great thing. Progress isn't always a great thing. Innovation, same thing. John Hammond echoes this, trying to have the PR mission to save the dinosaurs, to see them in their natural habitat. He does a great job at the end of the film. He's on a TV special saying that the dinosaurs don't really need people to survive. What they really need is to be left in their own environment on the islands without human interference, and that they will find a way, they will succeed. He quotes Malcolm saying, "Life will find a way." It's a really nice way to wrap up that sequel, still tie it to the original, and really show that character's growth along with his relationship with Ian Malcolm. But in conclusion, I do want to say, although I'm calling this a turning point, The Lost World, saying that the quality of the franchise kind of dips here, it's not for the better. It kind of introduces the concept of the dinosaurs finally getting to civilization, which of course will be revisited in Jurassic World. So I think it does a great job of kind of expanding the lore, the story, the world, you want to say. And it delivers in many points. While there are some weaknesses, I do think that mainly is with the characters. The dinosaurs, again, are great. And my opinion of this movie has changed over the years. When I first saw it, I know I was a bit disappointed. Still enjoyed it, of course, and have enjoyed it ever since. I do watch it every now and then. Recently, watching the new movies that come out in general, and revisiting The Lost World, Jurassic Park, it's clear that this is the best sequel. The Lost World Jurassic Park certainly is a worthy entry to the Jurassic Park franchise. I do want to end on that note. So thank you once again for listening, and have a good day.